First, and welcome to Organizing Microsoft Word. Today I'm going to demonstrate how to set up a Word document by doing the following. I'll use heading styles, multi-level lists to improve the readability. We'll create headers and footers that look professional by using section breaks and page breaks in the proper manner. We'll also make the document where we can create tables of contents that automatically update with changes in the document. So to get started, we will open Word. And as Word opens to the main menu, we'll choose Blank Document. Now, whatever document you're trying to create, whether it's a fairly long one or a fairly short one, most of these are probably going to be in excess of 6 pages, so I'm going to proceed on that assumption. If you only have a 1 or 2 page documents, you probably don't have a need for tables of contents, certainly, and maybe even headers and footers in some cases. So what we'll do first is we're going to make sure that we have the document itself organized and set up properly. Most documents you create are going to have a cover page. So the first page we'll just write in the word cover just to hold the space. Now, I would like to point out something. Within Word, if you go up to this quick insert menu, you'll see over here in the left there is a icon that says insert a cover page. It is highly recommended by me that you do not use that because it will create problems for you in your pagination later on. So again, I highly recommend not using that. So we'll go back to the home screen. So if we say this is the cover page, we're going to enter a page break after that. And this is going to be the back side of your cover page, and it's going to be a blank page. Now, you may not have to have this blank page or may not even want it. If you don't, that's fine, but I put it there just in case I add tables such as a list of tables or a list of figures that might take up more than that one page. Also, if you have a large document, even your table of contents can end up running over more than one page. So I just make sure I do that. So now I have the cover page and the blank backside. The next thing I'm going to do is put in a section break, and I'll go to layout there, and under this little menu, as you can see, breaks, I'm going to add a section break next page, and that's given me what will probably end up being my table of contents. Now, as I said earlier, that table of contents might or might not have more than one page, so I'm going to add another page break here, and I do that. The simple way to do it is Control-Enter, and now I've got the back side of the table of contents page, and I'm going to put that as blank. Once again, these blank pages are somewhat optional. I recommend them just for cleanliness of the document. So now that we've got the table of contents, I'm going to add another section break, and it'll be section break next page, the same as the other. And now this is the really beginning of your main document, and I'll just type main document here. And I'm going to add another page break there. Again, Control-Enter. And I should have 6 pages. And if I go look in the lower left-hand corner, it tells me that 6 pages of my document. So now I have my original 6 pages that I mentioned first, a cover page, blank backside of the cover page, what will probably be my table of contents page, and the blank backside of it, then the actually beginning of the main document. Now, once I've got my 6 pages done, I need to go in here and organize the layout of the paper, so to speak. And we'll do that same in the layout menu to go to the margins icon, click go all the way down to where it says custom margins. Now once I get there, I'm going to make a couple of decisions. If you make a document for readability in a binder or to some degree even an online document, you kind of want it to look like it's in a binder and you're flipping pages. Well, that little blank space where the binder hooks into the paper is the gutter. And if it's going to be in a binder, you can put a gutter. I usually do anyway, because it just makes the document look good. And I put it at point 2, the gutter, and that's going to be on the left. Now, one thing I want to make sure you see is this apply to, and we want this to apply to the whole document. So that's done. Now I go to layout, and the next thing I want to do is click on different odd and even pages. And this is important for flipping pages because of the location of your headers and footers and page numbers, that sort of thing. Again, it's a readability. Not absolutely necessary, but highly recommended for a professional document. Now this different first page, some documents require or you want to have a different header on the first page of your main document, and if so, you can use that. I don't normally do it, but it certainly can be done, and I'm not going to go into that. That's another discussion item. So I say okay. Now I have still back to my 6 pages. I have it set for different left and right. So now I've got to get it ready for headers and footers. And here's where you can get yourself in trouble very quickly if you're not paying attention. So to get to a header, I'm probably not, by the way, going to have a header on the cover page or the blank backside. But on your table of contents, you probably will. So in this blank area up here above the first paragraph mark, I just double click that, and I'll see that I'm in the header section. Now, take note, over here is same as previous. I want to undo all of these from here on in the document. And you do that by going up here to this little menu item that says link to previous and unclick it. Notice that same as previous icon is gone. Now I need to click again down here in the footer. You see same as previous. I go up here, click, and that's gone. And I'll continue on down and do this in the rest of the document. Same as previous, link to previous is gone. Down here, same as previous, link to previous is gone, etc. And once this is done, I can go in and put in some headers and footers, and I'm just going to put some things that I would do to show you how I would go about it. So now make sure all of my link to previous is gone. If you do not do that, you're going to have headers and footers showing up where you don't want them and in the manner that you don't want them. So once again, cover page, blank, table of contents page. So this is going to be my first header. Now you notice in this odd page header section 2, which is going to be your table of contents, I'll just type in odd page header. Now, seeing as it's an odd page, you want what text you have to be visible on the right-hand side typically. So go back to home, click up here, and move it over to the right-hand side. Now I'm assuming you are familiar with how to do that kind of editing to your text. So I have an odd page header. Now I'm going to go down and do an odd page footer, and it'll be the same way. But I might want to add page numbers down here. So let's insert a page number, and I'll go over here to page number. I like to put them at the current position. You see the menu item, and then pick one of these pre-done page numbers. And you'll see Now you'll see that as page 3, and we're going to change that in a minute. So let's go back home and move it over to the right hand side. Remember, this is the first main page of your document. Now you may not want it to start it, but you may want this to be at page 1 rather than page 3. So let's change that. I do it by highlighting the number, and I click on Format Page Number, and you'll see this sub-menu pop up, and instead of continuing from previous section, I want it to start at page 1, and voila, there you go. It now says odd page header, odd page footer, page 1, and now we changed this odd page footer for the table of contents, and you'll notice that it is a number 1 or page 1. And since it's a table of contents, we may or may not want it to be that format. We can change that also by right-clicking on the number, format page number, and change the style of the number. Some people like to use the little Roman numerals as those page numbers, so there you go. You can do it that way. So we're going to go on. We're going to add an even one now. We'll call this the even page header. Down here we're going to have an even page footer, but we probably, before we type that in, want to put our page numbers over there. This time, being as it's an even page, will be on the left margin. So we'll go to Insert, Page Number, Current Position once again, go down to one of the preset, and you'll notice it's automatically coming up with the format that I selected earlier for that page number, and I'll type in even page footer, and so forth and so on. Now I've already copied and pasted the text for the headers and footers into the rest of the document, but I just want to clarify something else with page numbers here. You'll notice for our table of contents page, we use the little Roman numerals as the format for the page numbers. Now when we got down to our main document, when I did the paste, it went back to what formatting was original, which is fine. However, it's starting it at page 3. So once again, to change that, we may want that to actually be the first page in the main document and number it as page 1. This is important now when we do the table of contents, which we'll go into shortly. So again, highlight it, right click on the number, and it didn't do there. Let's try that again. Format page number, and we want it to start at 1, and that's the right format. So now that has become page 1, page 2. So this is where we actually start our whatever information that we're trying to deliver in this document. So far, that's where we are. We have the document set up for headers, footers, even and odd pages, and we have a place for a table of contents, which we'll go into next. In this segment, we're going to create a table of contents. However, in order to do that, we're going to have to make some changes to the basic document itself. The first thing we're going to need to do is set up a multi-level list. And if you look up here in the quick access menu where the little listing is, it'll come up with a pop-up and say multi-level. Click on the down arrow next to that, go down to where it says define new multi-level list, and click on it. And this brings you to a sub-menu. In this sub-menu, it's showing you the various levels of that list that are available to you. So the first thing you want to do is go in here and choose a font, and we'll just use Calibri. I think that's pretty much everything in there, regular and whatever size. It's a major heading, the first one, so we may want it to be quite large. I usually use automatic color. That comes up as black. And as you can see, there's a number of other things you can do, none of which I've got selected here. Now next, with the number style, we may want, instead of having it as the 1, 2, 3, we may want to use Roman numerals, which you can select. These alignment menus here, I usually let the Word decide on those. Later on in the document, if you decide you don't like them, you can always come back in here and change them. Now, next is even more important. You go down to the More menu, and this is where you're going to assign this list to some heading styles if you look up here. And if you don't do that, your table of contents is not going to work properly. So right here it says link level to style, and we want this to be heading 1, and it will show level 1 in the gallery. The formatting for the number itself, again, I think we said Calibri, that's good. And the Roman numerals, that's where we wanted it. And it'll start at number 1. So we've got heading 1 and level 1 selected. Now let's go down to the next level. And once again, we're going to link that to heading 2 now. We're going to choose a font once again. And we'll go with Calibri still, but probably back down to 12. Automatic color, which will make it black. Okay. And instead of ABC, we may want capital ABC. Font, still be Calibri regular. Okay. And if you'll notice here, it'll have it starting at A, and it'll restart after level 1. Now what that means is it will automatically number these and restart the numbers every time it subs under the first heading. Now we can go to as many levels as we want here. I'm just going to go to level 3 just to show how to do it once again. But level 3, heading 3 is the link, and it'll show level 3 in the gallery. And start at 1. If we want to change the number style, we may want to do that. We can go to, in this case, 1, 2, 3, and we'll restart after level 2. And I can explain that a little more in detail later if needed. And again, all of the alignments we'll let Word decide. So let's just go back and check, make sure we've got everything set up the way we want it. Okay, it's showing, see right here, it should be showing level 1 there. And this should show level 2, and this should show level 3. Okay. Now, you can see that it's already put this number in the document, but I may want to not have that there. I can just delete that. Now, what if I want to put text in here? I can use what's already here. As an example, now I've put heading 1, that's Roman numeral 1. As an example, I can put level 2 here, and level 3. Now I can go back, highlight it, click on heading 2, click on heading 3, and now you can see what's happened. There's one other thing I should probably show you while we're in here looking at these heading styles. You'll notice heading 1 here, the text is in blue. You may not want that, or you may want some other font, some other size. You can universally change it in every heading 1. If you go up here in your style menu, right click on that heading, and modify it. And then you'll see another submenu comes up, and it's giving you the font, the size of the font, and the color, which in this case is blue. Let's put it back to automatic and say OK. And look, it's changed it to black. So if you'd already had a number of these in the document, if you already had a large document and you went in there and changed it, it will change all of them in that document, which is good. There's another way to do it too. You can go here. You can, instead of wanting it blue, you can change it to automatic. Okay. Then go to heading 2, right click and say update heading 2 to match selection. Now we're ready to actually create our table of contents. To facilitate it, I've added some text on page 1 and on page 2. That's just so we have something to generate. So go back up to our small letter I page. That's this one, which is where we're going to put our table of contents. Go up here to your main menu again, References, Table of Contents. Click on it, and as you can see, there's a few styles that you can use. I say I like the looks of that one. Click on it, and bang, there you are. You can see the table of contents has been created. Obviously, this is a lot easier than doing it manually, not to mention if you're editing the document and you repaginate, this will come back and you can update it. You update it by right-clicking in it and simply clicking on the Update Table. And when you do, it's going to say Update Page Numbers Only or the entire table if you've changed any of the headings down in your main document. So that's it. Let's do a quick review of how we created a table of contents. First of all, the basics. Remember, don't use the built-in cover page unless you're a lot better than this than me. You're going to create 6 pages first. You'll do a cover page with a blank sheet on the back side of it. That blank page on the back of the cover, you'll insert a section break. It'll be the section break next page option. Your next page then will be the actual table of contents page, more than likely. But of course that's based on your preference. And it'll have a blank page on the back of it with another section break. Then finally comes your main document page. You'll You'll do a regular page break at the end of that page and then do a second main document page. That would be all 6 of your pages done. Next, you're going to do the page layout procedure. You'll open that custom margins submenu, and as you can see from this slide, you'll select a gutter width. That's again an optional thing to do, but this is not optional. Always apply whatever you do to the whole document. Then you'll go to the Layout tab in that same submenu and select different odd and even pages. And again, make sure you have whole document selected. After you do that, go ahead and type in your desired headers. Remember, you can always go back and change those if need be. Next comes the most vital part of this whole thing, and that's setting up your multi-level list. You'll open the multi-level list menu, which I show here on the side of the slide, and you'll select these levels one at a time. Level 1, and do these things that I show on the slide. You'll link them to the appropriate heading style, which is up in that style menu at the top bar of the Word document. You'll select the number and the font size, the number style, select where the numbering restarts, except at level 1. Of course, there's nothing prior to that. But everything after that will have restart after. And then, of course, enter sample text or whatever just to make sure that your headings are all working correctly. Next, you're going to do what we all set out to do, and that's enter a table of contents. And as you can see here, you'll go to the References tab, and table of contents, select that, and then you'll see some samples. Once you get really handy with this, you can modify those a little bit, or you can create a custom table. But that's about all you should need to do to get this going. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this has been of some help.